Well, hey there, everybody, and sorry for being away from YouTube so long. I've been pretty busy with a couple of different projects, and rather than put me up on screen, I thought I'd let you see one of the things I've been doing recently, experimenting with the Mavic 2 Pro, and I gotta say, pretty impressed with it so far. We'll save the rest of that for another time. So, where have I been, and what am I doing with today's video post here on YouTube? Well, I've been working on a couple of online classes to add to the class that I already had on Udemy. So, I've had a course up on Udemy for a year now, Xtheme and WordPress for Beginners. Recently, I've finished off a new quick video tutorial series on photography with drones. So I've been doing photography for a lot of years, and a lot of the folks on this channel have been following along with me, partly to follow along with some of the photography. So that class is now up on Udemy, and I've redone a class that I had built years ago on my Lightroom workflow process. And that class is also now up online. So I thought I'd share one of the lectures from the course with you today. So the remainder of this video is actually one of the lectures from my class on my Lightroom workflow. So if you're interested in improving your Lightroom skills, check out the next lecture coming up in just a moment. And check the show notes down below, as I'm offering some really good discounts to all three of my classes. So if you check the show notes down below, you can look into my Xtheme and WordPress for Beginners course. You can check out my drone photography course, and you can check out my Lightroom workflow course. And for subscribers to this channel, I'm offering some pretty big discounts for my current followers here. And thanks for following along, by the way. All right, without any more delay, let's jump right over to the lecture from my Lightroom workflow course that just went live last week. All right, everyone, this lecture is appropriately named Let's Edit. So we've talked a lot about Lightroom and its management capabilities and what it can do for us as far as streamlining our workflow. But let's take some time to edit some images. So the images that you see on screen here are part of a quick collection that I whipped together. And they're not all perfect. They're not all the best of the best. But we're going to see what we can do with these images, and not all of them in one sitting either. So we're going to break this up into a couple of segments. But these are some images that are related to some of the images I've sold over the years. So these are not the exact scenes. These are not the exact compositions. While I was out shooting to get that perfect one that I was after, I took a bunch of clunkers or close to clunkers, or maybe they're okay, but they still need a little something. So we've got 13 images here, and included in the class, I've given you these DNGs so that you too can work on them and play around with editing. So as you see, we've got a lot of landscape stuff, and while I've done a lot of portrait stuff as well, I figure let's start off simple for our editing process. You know, let's not worry about people in here. Let's just present a really cool scene that we might be proud of sharing online, you know, popping up on Instagram or something. So the first one is from White Pocket. So this is on the Utah-Arizona border in the Vermilion Cliffs National Monument. It's near a very famous location known as the Wave, and very few people get to see it. There's permit restrictions at the Wave. There are not permit restrictions at White Pocket, but it is quite a tough drive to get in. You got to do some sand dune driving, and you need to be comfortable with being very far from help while you're out there. So I've photographed White Pocket over the years multiple times, taken friends out there, and taken photography students out there. So here's one of our images from there, and we've got a good reflection in this little pool. Not the best composition because I kind of have this rock dead center. I wasn't trying to make that the focus point, but we're going to use this one to see what we can do. So I'm hitting the D key for the develop module, and we are all reset here, and I'm going to go up to that basic panel. So this is my raw editor, right? Yes, it is. So we've got blue skies. They're not as blue as they were in person. And the rock formations here, the colors pop at different times of day when the sun hits them. Sometimes the colors are very washed out, and it's surprising as you see the colors change through the day. So what do I want to do with this one? Let's see here. I'm going to do a couple of simple things. The sky's not blown out. It's not killing me. We're just going to use, I'm not even going to touch the exposure. I think I'm pretty satisfied with that. I'm going to go down to clarity because I just want a little more definition. And I'm also going to go to dehaze, and let's take that up to 15 or 16 and see what that's doing for us. So that's definitely popped some colors for me. And maybe if I take that dehaze to 20, really popping some colors right now. So in two simple moves, just adjusting the clarity and dehaze, let's take a look. We're going to go down here and click on the YY. I'm going to click the tab key just so you can see. So we've definitely richened up that sky. The foreground has more color going on now. And this is not obnoxious. This is not over the top right now. It's not like if I went in here and jammed the saturation through the roof. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to push saturation. Whoa! This is a colorful location. It is never that colorful. I'm just double clicking the word saturation and it takes it back down. Maybe vibrance. So we'll push that vibrance up just a bit. And it's not as heavy-handed as the saturation adjustment. And that's looking pretty close to what I remember standing in this location. So one other thing I'm going to do, because I'd like some more edge to those clouds in the sky. So I'm going to go up here to the brush tool, click on the brush tool, and I'm going to make sure that it's all cleared out. I'm going to drop the exposure maybe 0.3. And I haven't started painting with the brush yet, so there's my brush tool, and I'm just going to click it right here. And now I'm going to paint with it. So I've dropped the exposure just a little bit for where I'm painting. And I don't want to do that to the rocks. So I'm trying to be cautious with my brush, and I can always resize the brush to be a little smaller. Yeah, that's a little too much on the rocks. So I'm going to shrink the brush, and I'm going to hold down the Option key to remove that painted area. I just want the rocks to stand out on their own. I want the sky to do its thing on its own. Now that I did that, let's go look at our painted area again. Much better. Maybe shrink this and get that little patch of blue in here. So this is looking pretty realistic for my day there. I also like what's happening in here with the reflection. One other thing I can do, let's go back up. We're still in the brush tool, and we've got mask right here. I'm going to do a new mask. And this is just a test. I might hate this. But let's paint. Let's go ahead and paint an exposure adjustment into the water reflection. So I wanted this to come up just a bit because I like that reflection. So I'd like to show off that reflection in the water here. And let's get a look at that and make sure we didn't overpaint anywhere. That is nice. I missed this little corner right here. So pushing that exposure up a bit is nice. Let's maybe we'll put a little saturation into here to really get those colors popping now. And should we try the dehaze again? So dehaze has become a really powerful tool, and it's newer to Lightroom. It's not it hasn't been around quite as long. So now this brush, I've popped the exposure up just a bit. I have adjusted the clarity up just a bit. The dehaze up just a bit. Saturation I pushed a lot because I'm trying to be extreme here on purpose, just for you to be able to see this. I'm going to go ahead and turn my brush off, and I'm starting to feel satisfied with this image, but let's go ahead and do the before and after again. So definitely the before is much flatter. It's much more washed out. We had some, the sun wasn't low in the sky for the day. It was 4:15 p.m. in March of 2011. I've got my information right up here. And so, you know, there's going to be a little washout. Now, when sunset comes, this thing gets lit up like you wouldn't believe. But right now, we're not dealing with sunset, are we? Maybe we could adjust that overall temperature a little bit to give a little more of that sunset feel. So I'm just warming it a little bit. And so this does have more of a sunset feel now. And that might be realistic. Maybe it's gone too far. I'm not sure. This is where it gets into your personal preferences. So you want to present the scene that you want to present. There is no wrong photo here. I cannot enforce that enough. Now, in the marketplace, when you're trying to sell this, it might be the wrong photo. But when you're out creating and you're having a fun day shooting and you're capturing scenes of amazing places, this is all about what you came away with from the experience. So I've taken people out to White Pocket. I took Jody out to White Pocket. Her mind was blown. She'd seen my photos for quite some time, but there is nothing like seeing it in person. All right, my final thing with this one, maybe I want to make a banner out of this. So I just grabbed the crop tool, and maybe I want to do kind of the HD format. So 1920 by 1080, and let's see, am I liking that? Let's go ahead and commit that. I'm going to hit return. And now let's go to full screen because this is going to fill my screen completely. I think I'm satisfied with this edit. And you know, we've been talking through this edit, so here we are at 9 minutes on this one, but we've been talking through this edit. But as you saw, the adjustments I made were not huge. A couple of small things, 2 little brushes, and after the 2 little brushes, an overall global change. So you put it all together, and in just a couple of minutes with Lightroom, and you're much closer to the scene that you experienced and the scene that you want to relay to people. So Lightroom can really help you rapidly adjust your images. And on top of that, you can take something that was kind of flat and boring and you can make something more out of it. And, you know, we don't all get to shoot at dawn and dusk. So that's one of the big rules for, you know, landscape photographers, dawn and dusk, dawn and dusk. There are times when we're going to a location that takes 2 to 3 hours driving through sand dunes, and we miss dawn, even if we're driving way early in the morning. Don't throw away the rest of your day. You can still get some good captures working outside of those hours, but most likely you're going to need to do some post-processing. And as you've seen here, Lightroom has given us a really great hand in that post-processing. All right, we're going to stop this lecture here, and then we're going to pick up with another Let's Edit. And maybe we'll get 2 done, and I won't talk so darn much.